Hi everyone, my name is Anju, and I am here to provide a guide on how to play my favorite party game with a deck of cards, 28. 28 is a popular game played in Kerela, India, which is where my parents are from. I would compare it to poker in terms of how you need to strategize, think, and pay attention to the cards being played, but you also have a partner. It is a fun, strategic team game, and I learned how to play via the trial by fire method, which essentially means I watched uncles, aunts, and my parents play the game at every family function, and then I slowly attempted to learn how to play. I failed miserably in the beginning because I didn't fully understand all the rules. Now, after over a decade of playing with my family, I wanted to share how to play a game that I love and help others learn how to play an Indian card game that you may not have heard of. With that being said, let's get started. To ensure that you can effectively learn how to play 28, I decided to split this video up into 4 sections. First, I will go into the setup of the game, followed by the rules. Then I will get to the end goal and end the video by talking about what you can do next after getting all of this information. Now let's start with the setup. To play a typical game of 28, you need a standard deck of cards and 4 players. While there are versions of this game where you can play with more or less players, the rules for this video will be specific to a standard 4-player game. The 4 players will be split into 2 teams of 2 players. The 2 teams will be competing against each other. Now, as you can see on the screen, this is a standard deck of cards. Not all of the cards will be used in regular gameplay, but all cards have a purpose, even the jokers and the random cards in the deck. The first thing you need to do to set the game up is to separate the deck in a specific manner. The cards shaking now should be in a separate pile from the cards shaking now. Let's separate them. The cards to the left of your screen can be combined and are considered your currency. The value on the card is the value of the currency. Jokers and extra cards are considered one currency. The cards to the right are the cards that you play in the game. The currency can be put to the side face up. One of the players can hold on to it and be the bank teller. After splitting the cards, players can sit opposite their partners. The first player becomes the dealer and shuffles the gameplay cards. He then passes them face down to the player to his left. That player cuts the deck without looking by taking part of the top and moving it to the bottom. The dealer then deals 4 cards to each player, starting with the player to his right and proceeding counterclockwise. The remaining cards are set aside face down. Players examine their cards without revealing them or signaling to their partners. Now the game is set, so we can go into the rules. In the game, each round consists of playing all gameplay cards that you see here. Cards have assigned point values and are ranked based on the value and character. 7s are the lowest in points, as you see below, and in power, as you see above. Jacks, also called trumps, would be highest in points and power. Each suit has a total of 7 points available, and therefore a total of 28 points is available across the 4 suits in each round. There is a dynamic in terms of certain suits having more power, but to understand the suit power dynamic, you need to know how points are won. To win points, players must win plays by playing the most powerful card according to the current suit hierarchy. The player to the right of the dealer starts the first round by playing a card face up, and play proceeds counterclockwise. For each play, the suit of the first card that is played starts off as the dominant suit for that hand. The most powerful card played wins that hand, and the team of the winning player collects the cards and associated points. The winning player then starts the next play, and this process repeats for 8 plays in total, after which points are tallied. In a given play, all players must play a card from the suit that initiated the play, if it is in their hands. If a player does not have a card in that suit, he can ask to reveal the trump suit. Now, what is the trump suit? Well, prior to any cards being played, one of the players will have a card down, indicating that he made a bet on how many points his team will win. In making that bet, he had to put down a card face down. The suit of that card is the trump suit. There are specific rules for the trump suit. The trump card must be face down until it is revealed. The player to the right of the dealer always starts the round and initiates the first play. If this player has the trump card face down, as shown here, he cannot start the first play with a card within the trump suit. If another player has the card face down, player 2 would be able to play any card without any restriction. As mentioned earlier, the next player must play a card within the suit that was first played. If the player does not have the suit, in this case, player 4 doesn't. He has the ability to choose whether to cede the trump or not. In this case, he chose to reveal the trump. The power of the trump is now available. This means that the trump suit is more powerful than the other suits for the rest of the round, as in the rest of the 8 plays. Now, if you ask to see the trump, you must put down a card within the trump suit, unless you don't have that either. You can only play a card in the trump suit from here on out if you do not have a card from the suit that initiated the play. All right, now that you know the gist of the game, let's recap what we know. Given the setup, player 1 has dealt 4 cards to each player face down. We learned that the cards themselves have a general power structure and points for the cards. To actually start the game, we need to start the betting phase. Player 2 is to the right of player 1, who was the dealer. So player 2 starts the betting phase. Player 2 assesses his cards and bets on the number of points he believes his team can win in 8 plays without knowing what cards the other players have and without knowing the additional 4 cards that he would receive after the betting phase is complete. He also selects a trump suit by placing a card face down. The minimum bet is 14 points and the maximum is 28. The bet determines how much currency each team would get, depending on if the betting team reaches or surpasses their bet. The higher the bet, the higher the risk, and the higher the reward. Betting proceeds counterclockwise, with players either betting higher or passing. Betting concludes once one player's bet is too high for the other 3 players to consider, and the player with the final bet puts his trump card face down, with no ability to change it. Other players that have any cards face down must pick all of their cards back up. All of their cards are at their disposal. Then the dealer distributes the remaining 16 cards. Now that all the players have their 8 cards in their possession, the player to the right of the dealer starts the first play. However, if anybody ends up with 4 jacks in their hand, the game is considered illegal and needs to be reset. During the course of the game, if neither players in the opposing team has 1 card in their hand from the betting team's trump suit, then the game must be reset. So how does the game end? At the end of a round, points are tallied and the winning team receives currency based on their bet. All 32 cards are reshuffled and the dealer position rotates counterclockwise. A new round begins with the same process. The player to the left of the dealer cuts the deck. The dealer distributes the cards in fours counterclockwise, starting with the player to their right. The player to the right of the dealer starts the bidding, and the game continues until a predetermined endpoint. This endpoint could be reaching a certain amount of currency or playing for a set number of rounds.
Now, that was a lot of information, but you should at least have a comprehensive understanding of the game. So, what's next? Start playing. There is Online 28 to help you individually practice. Or, as I said, this is a fun party game with playing cards, so play with friends. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, or subscribe to my channel for more information on my favorite Indian card game, 28.